how did it go when it came to the actual reaction to the gameplay itself? Man, it was weird. Let me put it that way, because there was a big division among my viewers about the gameplay itself. Alright, and I'll tell you why. Some people just roll with it and say, however Phil wants to play is how he plays, and it's good, and it's entertaining, and it's fun, good stuff. We support that. But there was a group of people who, man, and this is like, this harkens back to the days when I was a full-time YouTuber, okay? And not to say that I was the most receptive to any kind of criticism or suggestions for improvement, because I wasn't. I was a very obstinate, stubborn, pig-headed, rock-headed, dunder-headed individual who felt like I knew better than everyone else, and I didn't want to listen, right? I didn't want to hear your feedback or nothing. I just want to freaking, I just want to play how I want to play, and, I'm popular on YouTube, I know better than you. That was my attitude back in the day. Today, I'm much more open to suggestion, okay? So, just to give you a little bit of idea of what happened yesterday. So, after the initial character creation, the initial tutorial, and me going out into the open world, literally the first thing you see in the open world is an optional boss. Now, leave it to From Software to be a bunch of trolls and put an incredibly challenging optional boss directly in front of you as you walk out of the starting doors. Now, you guys know me. I look at this thing and I'm like, okay, I want to fight that, right? I want to fight it. I want to see what happens. And I die. And I'm like, wow, he's pretty tough. He hits for giant damage. Your healing right now is incredibly weak. He takes like 2 chugs of the flask. I say it's flask, that's what it is. 2 chugs of the Estus flask to really heal. Yourself fully. And you roll slowly. And your weapons are weak. And this guy has giant range. And I'm like, damn. Like, holy crap. This is a situation where I could do one of 2 things, okay? I can do what I've done in previous FromSoft games. I can apply myself intelligently and diligently and learn this boss's patterns and try to figure out exactly what I need to do to beat this boss, okay? Or I can run by it like a pussy, run away, escape, right? Go do other stuff in the game and maybe come back later, all right? Now, apparently from what I'm to understand, like 99% of people playing the game just ran by the boss and ignored it, okay? I said, I dare to be different, right? I dare to be someone who's going to do something differently, all right? I want to take this guy on. I want to fight him head on. I want to say, I feel I've played enough of these games that if I apply myself here, I can beat this guy. So, I fought the guy for about half an hour, and I was getting better and better at fighting him. And essentially, I was going to go on my break. And apparently, the audience opinion was split, right? Some people were just happy seeing me play the game and said, keep doing it. You're doing better. You're actually getting better at this boss fight. Keep going. Others were like, okay, we get it. You're getting better at it. You'll likely beat it, but it would be cool maybe if you went forward a little further, because now you've been doing this for like a half an hour. We'd like to see more of the game on day one. But, we're not going to be jerks about it. If you want to keep fighting the boss, keep fighting the boss. Hopefully you beat him soon, and then we can see more of the game. And then, there was a group of people who were so obnoxious. Phil, why are you fighting the boss, Phil? Why aren't you going out and playing the game, Phil? Phil, you're not supposed to fight that boss, Phil. Phil, why aren't you playing Elden Ring like we want you to, Phil? Phil, we want to see the rest of the game. Phil. And I mean, it's one thing. Okay, I hear your opinion. I get it. You want to see more of the game. It's launch day. I understand. I want to see more of the game too. But FromSoft put a challenge in front of me. I'm going to take on that challenge. And the thing is, if I had been fighting this boss and I wasn't getting any better at it, let's say I was literally just dying, making absolutely no progress at all, okay? That would have been one thing, and you would have maybe had a point, okay? But the thing is, I was getting better. I was getting closer and closer to beating this guy. I was learning his patterns, right? I actually found out when you get him down to 50% health, now he gets new attacks, and he stops doing some of the older ones. So you got to adapt your fighting style to his new attacks and stuff. And I was actually having a really good time with this guy, even though he was kicking my butt, and it was fun to watch me get my ass handed to me a bunch of times, because I was insanely, I was level 1. I was level 1 with starter stats, trying to fight a boss that people are saying arguably is supposed to be a mid-level boss, like level 25 to 30, you'd be expected to go back and fight that guy, okay? Or get the mount, and now use the mount to your advantage, try to learn the mount while you're fighting the guy, okay? So, I said, I'm going to keep doing this. So I went to break, I came back, and people are still bitching about this. 20 minutes later, oh my god, he's still fighting his bun. Jeez, you know, I understand you voice your opinion once, but some people just don't know how to let up. They really are like little 5-year-olds tugging at your dad's pant leg. Dad, I want ice cream, Dad. No, Dad, I ice cream. I want ice cream. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Don't you understand that, like, you can voice your opinion? I get it. But I'm going to make a decision for what I want to do on my stream. And if you don't like it, I understand. You can say, okay, I don't like that. But just sit there and be so obnoxious constantly. Like, jeez, man. Fucking wake up. So what happened? I did it for about another 15, 20 minutes, tops, and I beat him. I'm like, yes! I did it. I beat him. And everyone was rejoicing on the stream, like, holy shit, Phil beat this guy, and most people have skipped him. Only really good people who are pretty good at Dark Souls really fought him and beat him at the beginning of the game. So it's shocking to see someone like me take him on and be able to beat him. It took a while, but I learned everything. I beat him. It was exciting. It was fun. I got a boss weapon. It's basically a boss weapon he drops. And can't use it yet. It's going to take forever to use it. But man, I'm excited for when I can finally use it. It was really fun. And I was like, damn, this is a great thing. It felt like a really cool early game accomplishment for a special playthrough, right? That's going to be a moment that's going to stand out from other people's playthroughs. That DSP toughed it out and fought this early game boss and beat him while everyone else skipped and came back later when it was easy mode, right? That's cool. That's one of the cool things about being a content creator like me. I can look for moments that maybe I can create a unique experience. Sometimes it's completely inadvertent, if there's a game bug or a silly situation or a fail, but sometimes I can actually pull off something impressive. And I felt that was one of them, right? That was fun. And then after that, we did a lot of exploration. In fact, we did an optional dungeon. We fought some enemies. We went to other places. Now, on the second stream, okay, on the second stream, I go to the lake. Oh my god, there's a giant dragon. Holy shit, I wasn't expecting that. It comes out of nowhere. So I'm like, now this dragon, there's no way you can beat this thing on foot. You can do some damage on foot, but as soon as the dragon tries to fly away or blow fire, you're pretty boned, okay? I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, that dragon felt like Dark Eater Midir to me. Now, for those of you who've played Dark Souls 3, you'll know what that reference means. The final DLC of Dark Souls 3 was called the Ring City. There was an optional boss. Excuse me. There was an optional boss in the Ring City that was called Dark Eater Midir. He was a giant dragon that could not fly, but was in his pit of like squalor. Everything was like decaying and falling apart. And he was tough. A lot of people actually said he was one of the most challenging things in Dark Souls. I didn't think so. I actually thought if you learned his pattern, he was relatively easy to beat, but a lot of people at the time were having a bunch of trouble with him. Okay? So, I fought Dark Eater Midir, and I beat him within, I wouldn't say it took too long. It took a good amount of time, but not too long. I learned his pattern, I beat him. People at that time were actually impressed that I was able to beat this boss, because a lot of people were having tons of trouble with this boss and couldn't figure it out. It just so happened I figured out the proper strategy to beat this boss. So, now, here I am, 2022, 6+ years later, and I'm like, what the hell? Let me get this straight. The final secret boss of Dark Souls 3 is basically an early optional boss in Elden Ring. In the first few hours, you encounter a boss that's like Dark Eater Midir plus, because this boss can actually fly and breathe fire. You want to know the truth? I think FromSoft did that on purpose. I think FromSoft is flexing a little bit. They're like, oh, you thought you were good back then? Well, you better get good now, because here's that fucking boss, but the full power boss. Now he can fly, he can blow flames, he can do all this crazy shit that he couldn't do back in Dark Souls 3. This is like the prime Dark Eater Midir. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I wouldn't have been shocked if they said, if this really was Dark Souls 4, oh, this is Dark Souls 4, but it's set thousands of years before Dark Souls 3, and this Dark Eater Madeira in his young years is a tough dragon before he was all fucked up, and now you gotta fight him. That's what it felt like for me. I was like, damn, this is pretty cool. But you get a horse. So now the whole fight's different because you're on the horse, you see? So, I loved this boss fight. It took a while to learn what I was doing or whatever. I would say it probably took, out of last night's stream, it was a 2-hour stream, it probably took me like 30, 40 minutes, no lie, to beat this dragon boss, okay? I loved it. And again, people were rejoicing. When I beat it, it was like this feeling of accomplishment. It actually even said greater foe felled or something like that. It's like, wow. So that means it genuinely was actually supposed to be like a tough fight in the game compared to other boss fights. And I beat it. I'm like, damn, I'll be honest. I thought that was harder than Dark Eater Madeira, even though the pattern was easy to figure out. The boss had a couple attacks that were very hard to avoid and could literally wipe you in the early game. If you don't have enough health, you're going to die to the fire. So it was kind of challenging in that regard. And I beat him, and I'm like, yes, this is cool. But again, exactly as what had happened earlier in the day with the Tree Sentinel, it was the same reaction for people watching. Some people were rejoicing and happy that I had taken my time to do it. Another unique moment that will stand out in DSP's playthrough. Others were like,
meh, feels 5 hours in, he's still in the first area. Well, so-and-so streamers 5-6 hours in, and they're like 2 areas ahead of Phil, and
blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, I really am, I'm thinking to myself in my head, you know, this is definitely a case of 2 things. Number 1, all right, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please everyone, right? There's always going to be someone who's upset with how you're doing something. And the other saying that came to mind, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because here's the deal. If I had skipped those early game bosses, you would have people saying, man, Phil's a puss, Phil's a wimp, Phil's a jerk, Phil sucks, he proves that he sucks, he has bosses in front of him and he skips them. Everyone else is a man and can stand up to those bosses, but look at Darkside Phil, the wimp. He runs away to fight another day and basically doesn't care about these challenges in front of him, right? What's the point of playing a game if you run from everything? That's literally what would have been said if I had skipped these bosses, okay? But I fight them, and now I get the opposite. Oh, we didn't get to see enough of the game. And you know why this really blows my mind? Back in the day, 10 years ago, before I was an interactive live streamer, before I was very different, and now today I'm a much different person and content creator than I used to be. Back in the day, my shtick on YouTube was thus. Darkside Phil is the guy who goes out and buys a game on release day, plays it as soon as possible, puts out a ridiculous amount of content for that game on release day, and basically rushes through the game and tries to beat it as soon as possible so he can have a complete playthrough on YouTube, be one of the first to do so, and then move on to the next game. Some people liked that. Some people hated that and thought, man, Darkside Phil is like the biggest rusher, and he doesn't really give these games their fair shake. He doesn't really give it enough time. And man, it's ridiculous because when you watch a Darkside Phil playthrough, you could literally miss, right, half of the game because he skips all the side content and just rushes through to try to finish the game. This was a major, major criticism of my content back in the day. That DSP gaming playthroughs are not valid playthroughs. They're not quality playthroughs. He's a rusher. He just tries to make money on ad revenue and views. He doesn't care about the quality of the gameplay he puts out. This is actually why people said back in the day, Phil doesn't deserve success. Phil doesn't deserve any kind of support or anything because his content is bunk. His content is junk. He's just in it for the money. This was what people said 10 years ago, right? So here I am, much later, I've completely changed my way that I go about things. I'm playing this game and I'm really enjoying it. I'm like, man, I want to take on these boss challenges. This is fun to me, right? And now I get the opposite. Oh, you didn't do enough today. You should have, in 5 hours, man, you should have been in 2-3 major story bosses, and you should have been in new areas. And I'm like, what? Why? Why rush? What is the rush? Is there a time limit on how long I have to play this game? Does this game self-destruct in 3 days? Like Inspector Gadget or something? You know what I mean? Like, don't I have as much time as I want to play it? Right? And the other thing is, the more time that I spend playing this game, more people will be ahead of me in it, and then they'll be able to come watch the streams and not get spoiled because they're already ahead of me. You see what I'm saying? So if I really take my time today, another 5 hours of Elden Ring today, if I take my time exploring all of the initial area, and I find a bunch more optional stuff, more optional dungeons, more bosses. I got to figure out what to do with this dragon heart. I don't have a clue what that is. Let's say I take my time, figure all this out. All right? Maybe even after 10 hours, I'm still in the first area. Does that mean my playthrough sucks? Or does it mean I'm actually enjoying myself and taking my time to show you all the content of the game, which is what people told me I needed to do back in the day. So now I improve, and now people say, no, you didn't improve, this is bad. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like no matter what I do, people tell me what I'm doing isn't good enough. And that's absolutely ridiculous. That's absolutely positively ridiculous. What it is people, this is what people do to me over the years. They lie and they over-exaggerate to try to make me look bad, and then they try to use that to make a point that's false. They create a falsified narrative around me, and then they make that truthful by literally repeating the lie over and over. For example, I'm not even exaggerating. Right this moment as I'm talking about it, I just received a tip that's completely false. Are you ready? Josh tipped me $4.20. Thank you for the tip, Josh. Listen to what he says. People got bored because 4 hours of your first 2 streams were 2 optional bosses. Okay, let's think about this for a second. I played the game for 5 hours yesterday. The initial 30 minutes was character creation. Then I did the tutorial. Then I stepped out into the open world and I started fighting the tree sentinel. That lasted about 20 minutes. Then I went on a break. Then I came back for about another 15-20 minutes and I beat the tree sentinel. So let's even stretch that out and say that was 45 minutes. Okay? Then I continued to play the game for the rest of my first stream, and it was all open world exploration. There was another optional dungeon, another boss fight. On the second stream, I took on a bunch of enemies at this tower. I went through the arches. I fought this mini boss. I was exploring. Then I went to the lake. Oh, there's the dragon. I fought the dragon for about, I'll say, a half an hour of the stream. After the dragon was defeated, I spent another half an hour to 45 minutes in an optional mine dungeon where I was running through fighting these minor enemies, and then there was another boss fight that I did. So if you actually add up, let's do the math. Let's even say 45 minutes and 45 minutes, which is actually longer than it was, I know for a fact, but let's just say that's what it was. An hour and a half out of the 5 hours that I played on launch day was bosses. 2 bosses, okay? But you understand, listen to what Josh just said. 4 hours of your first 2 streams were 2 optional bosses. And here's the problem. People say dumb, incorrect shit like that. And then they spread it as fact on the internet because they are this crowd, this what is the word for it? The mob mentality. If we say something that's wrong enough people will believe it. If we say that vaccines for COVID do a bunch of crazy, insane side effects that they don't do, enough people will be dumb enough to believe it, right? And this is what happens with me all the fucking time. People just make shit up that's not true. Sure, if you were really looking for me to check out as much of the game as possible in the initial stream, I will 100% admit to you, yeah, it might have been a little annoying when I got stuck on those 2 bosses. But in general, if you watched the 5 hours of gameplay I did yesterday, there was a ton of variety. There was the character creation, the tutorial, the tree sentinel boss, the first initial optional dungeon, then the initial cat boss, more exploration, checking out, unlocking the horse, riding the horse around, fighting a bunch of troops, going into the arches and fighting the mini boss, going down to the lake, fighting the giant dragon, clearing out the lake, going to the optional miners dungeon, clearing that dungeon, fighting another boss, and then the conclusion of the streams. Just think about what I just mentioned, how much that was. That's a ton of shit. How can you say that 4/5 of 80% of what I did was the 2 bosses?
Wrong. You're wrong.
And for you to say shit like that is hurtful. You have to understand that. When you literally make shit up and you over-exaggerate to put out a false narrative about me,
it hurts me.
Because now people say, well, even though DSP had the best viewed stream ever and the highest engagement, oh, it sucked because he just fought 2 bosses all day.
Wrong. You're a liar. Stop fucking lying. Seriously, cut the shit.
Act like you fucking have a piece of maturity in your brain and stop acting like an asshole. What did I do to you? right? I put out 2 entertaining streams yesterday. The vast majority of people like it. What's the narrative of the negative people on the internet? Phil only fought 2 bosses. What a boring premiere stream.
Fuck off. That's not what happened.
And I'm tired of people lying. I really am. It's at this point, it's not even like, oh, we're razzing him. We're literally creating a defamatory atmosphere on the internet about Darkside Phil. That's not true. Why do people think of me in a negative light as a
Lol cow and all this shit?
Because of the shit people make up about me. Not because of truthful shit. The truthful shit is embarrassing for sure. There's been some really big foibles and dumb shit that I've said and done over the years. I'm not going to say that didn't happen. I've been here for over 13 years. Obviously, I'm going to do dumb ass shit. Okay? That's admittedly, yes, that's true. That's the case. I've definitely made mistakes. I'm not perfect. I know I've made very boneheaded things in the past that have happened to me. Okay? I'm an idiot. There you go. But at least make fun of me for the shit that actually happens. Stop lying about the shit that's not actually happening. I'm tired of people lying. I really am. If I'm having a fun stream, everyone's engaged, it's a challenge, I'm taking on the challenges, I'm trying to overcome them. Why are you complaining? If you don't like that, leave. There's 40,000 other people playing this game on the fucking internet that you can go bother. You don't have to sit here and rain on everyone else's parade because you're miserable, right? Because ultimately that's what it is. You had some kind of a weird preconceived notion of how this game should be played. And now because I'm not doing it, you think it's not good enough, all right? That's why there's something called choice. If you don't like it,
leave.
You don't have to sit here and suffer through what you don't enjoy. I was having a good time. In general, the viewers were having a good time. Or else there wouldn't have been the engagement there was, right? There wouldn't have been the support and engagement that there was on the streams. So, I'm sorry that I can't please everyone. Really, I am. I wish that I was someone who could literally please everyone on the planet. Okay? But, I can't. If you're just going to sit here and crap on the stream, just leave. You don't need to waste your life away doing this shit. No one cares. I mean this now. No one cares. Really. All you're doing is annoying everyone here who's having a good time. And the entitlement, the incredible amount of entitlement out of these people who say dumb shit like this is just off the charts. Because like I said, the fact of the matter is, these people would have said they complained about it if I'd done the opposite. If I had skipped those bosses, they would have just said that I was a wimp and I was cowardly. You know what I mean? That's what they're here for. So please understand that. And again, Josh, you got to understand something. I appreciate the tip, but you literally in the tip lie. You said I spent 4 out of 5 hours yesterday fighting 2 bosses. There's no way on this planet you could actually prove that because it's false. But that's the narrative you have in your head because you probably listen to all the negativity instead of actually watching the content and actually enjoying what I do here on stream. This is the problem. These people have now gotten so sucked into the black hole, okay? Right? This black hole of bullshit. And then they believe it because they just hear so many people repeat it. It's fucked up. It's a cult. At this point,
it's a cult of hate.
Is exactly what it is. It's a cult of hate against me. And I'm not going to put up with that shit. I'm going to defend myself and say, you're a liar.
Stay the fuck back! Stay back! We will defend ourselves! We will defend ourselves! We will defend ourselves! Stay the fuck back! Stay the fuck back!
I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, my first streams really sucked because I fought 2 bosses that were tough. Wrong. You're a liar. And if you don't like it, fine, don't come back. We don't need people sitting here to crap on shit constantly. We don't. We need people who are positive and are here to have good times. That's what the whole point of sharing gameplay on the internet is supposed to be. We're having a good time with games together. We're doing a shared experience. We're having a social experience. Like I said, having the interaction with you guys yesterday when I was playing was so good. It made the playthrough so much better. But then when you get these people who got to come in with their cult of bullshit, their cult of hate, and they got to cultivate this negativity and this toxic nonsense, no, it's not going to happen anymore. I'm not putting up with this shit. I'm tired of swallowing my pride when I'm having fun. We're all having a great stream, and these people still have to spin it like something bad happened when it didn't. It literally didn't happen. You're full of shit. Okay, so please understand, I'm trying to have a good time here. That's the point of my streams. If you're going to sit here and crap, you're going to find yourself out of this place crapping somewhere else. Go to the circles where they circle jerk each other all over the internet lying about me. You know, like I said, it was funny because yesterday I said, you know, there's 1,000 people on stream, but technically I probably have about 3,000 viewers because there's probably thousands of idiots sitting on the toxic streams that are restreaming this right now. And those are my viewers too. Because if I wasn't streaming, they wouldn't have any fucking viewership. So that's all my streamers, right? It's all the attention. The problem is there's too many people in these cults. And they need to cut this shit out, man. Just come to the stream and genuinely try to enjoy it. Don't come here and be a jerk, right? It's not a way to go through life. It's just not. It's a sick way to go through life thinking that way, all right? Today I'm going to have a lot of fun with this game. I am. I know I am. We're going to have a full day of Elden Ring today. Now, tomorrow is up in the air, guys. I'm curious to see what happens today with Elden Ring, okay? So, if Elden Ring goes well today, if we get good viewership, if we get good engagement, if we get good support, if everything goes well like it did yesterday, I'm not opposed to playing Elden Ring a third day in a row. I'll play it a third day if that's what you guys really want. Now understand I'm a variety streamer. This is the exception to the rule. Starting next week when I come back from break, I absolutely have to start playing other games again. Okay? I can't just play this game endlessly. People will get upset that I'm not continuing on with my other playthroughs. I hear you. Like Horizon, I got to interesting points in the game. There's big story elements coming up. I want to play more of it. I do. I know it's only for a couple hundred people on stream, but at the same time, I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to drop that playthrough just because Elden Ring came out. All right? So starting this week coming up, I'm going to balance Elden Ring with Horizon. It's just going to happen. And I know some people are going to complain, but that's how it is. I'm a variety streamer. I'm going to do stuff for variety purposes and balance and go back and forth. Okay? But I'm open to playing this 3 days in a row if that's what you want. If not, that's okay too. Tomorrow we can do Horizon, we can do Skyrim, we can do other stuff. Okay? Alright, dead skin on my lip. In general, I'm looking for your feedback today. Do you want to see more Elden Ring tomorrow? Or after the end of today, are you Elden Ringed out? You want a day away, you want a break, and then we can maybe come back to it on Tuesday. Let me know. I'm looking for your feedback today for sure on that. I got to determine exactly what it is that I want to do come Sunday, okay? But what I will say is, guys, please support the streams. You know, right now, this is a great opportunity for growth. This is a great opportunity for engagement and also, you know, support. Right now, this could be a great way to end February. By the way, February is a short month, only 28 days. Typically, a month has 31 days. There's less days this month. So it's actually a shorter month for me. To have a little bit of a boost over the next couple of days of support on the streams would be great. To have me have a strong end of the month and not be like, oh, great, now when I get paid next month, everything's slow. You know what I mean? It would help. So thank you in advance to anyone who's thinking of contributing in any way and supporting the Elden Ring streams the next couple of days. And again, it's the last chance to hit the members' goal, right? Look how close we are, but you notice it's not moving, right? So I hope, knowing that now we're down to the nitty-gritty, we're down to the end of the month, we could get some more people to convince them to be members and jump in and have this goal happen, all right? I would like nothing more than to do a viewer's choice playthrough for you guys. Let's do some shout. By the way, Josh just tipped again and apologized. And Josh, can I say something? I actually appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that you apologize for exaggerating and lying. Because 99% of the people who do talk shit about me and exaggerate and lie don't ever apologize. They just act like it's fact. And that's why so many people on the internet hate me. Bottom line, that's why so many people on the internet don't like Darkside Phil or think that I'm a running joke, because people lie and believe the lies. So I appreciate that, and I will read your full message in a minute. But I just wanted to let you know immediately when I saw that you said you apologized that I really do appreciate that. That was really nice of you to do that. Okay. All right. So the first tip of the day was from Josh, who literally over-exaggerated. For the sake of being transparent, I'm going to read exactly what he said. All right. He tipped me $4.20, and here's what Josh said. He said the following. Phil, people get bored because the 4 hours of your first two streams were two optional bosses. We already talked about how that was wrong. It's fine to get fun. You're playing games for an audience, not just yourself. No one's saying to rush, but they wanted to see more of the game. Okay, I understand that. I get that. And they say, okay, Phil, you know, I wish you would stop fighting this boss and do other stuff. You say it once, you move on. There were people literally sitting here crapping all over the stream. This stream sucks. He won't fucking play the game. As if the point of a challenging boss isn't to beat it. Like, what is it for? To stare at it? To take pictures of it and watch it later and fucking wave goodbye as you skip it? You're supposed to fight it, right? Like, I really don't understand this mentality. Like, again, you can't please everyone all the time. If I skip everything, people will complain. If I fight everything, I guess people will complain. So I think you see the running pattern here. People complain. And there's nothing I can really do about it, right? Okay. But again, I feel the reason that it becomes an issue is because people lie and exaggerate. It wasn't, oh, Phil's been on this boss for a while. It's Phil's been on this boss for 4 hours out of his 5 hours of streaming today. Complete lies, okay? Anso Kumaru tipped me $1.50 and says, I'm 5 hours into Elden Ring. I didn't reach the castle yet. I have no idea why people wait years and years for a game only to blitz through it in 4 days. Again, you're right. And especially a game like this, where there really isn't story. Let's be honest here. How are you going to get the story of Elden Ring? You're going to fucking read shit, right? This isn't Horizon Forbidden West, where there's a really interesting, robust story going on. This is a game where literally it's 99% gameplay. So why wouldn't you focus on the gameplay and playing it? Why would you skip it? All right, so Josh did a second $4.20 tip and apologize. I really appreciate that. So let's read what Josh has to say, and I'm not going to make fun of him this time. I'm just going to take what he says matter-of-factually and answer legitimately, okay? He says, I admit I exaggerated. I apologize. My point is a lot of people were telling you they're bored and they want to see some of the game, and they got ignored and mocked for it. They didn't even want you to barrel through the story, just do other stuff. Well, again, there's no story. I'm telling you, there is none. It's just a bunch of gameplay. But again, my point here is, if a game is solely gameplay, which this game is, okay, besides reading descriptions of items, essentially, and like 2 cutscenes that are going to be in this game, then you should focus on the gameplay that's put in front of you. I spent time on 2 bosses does not mean that I wasn't going to spend significant time on the rest of the game. I could understand your mentality if you were like, well, if Phil spends all this time on those bosses, that means that he's never going to get to the rest of the game. No, it's not true. I will. What it is, it's impatience. It's exactly what it is. It's being impatient. It's Phil will do a better playthrough with more content if we're just a little patient. We're going to get to see new stuff. Plus, he's overcoming these tough challenges now in the early game too. This is, instead of seeing the big picture, what you're seeing is, what you're doing is basically being kind of impatient. And, you know, I understand. But the thing is that there seems to be this weird mentality of instant gratification on the internet. That's not how life works. It's just not. If you're looking for instant gratification on the internet, you're looking for fluff. You're looking for garbage. You're looking for no meaning, wasted time. Give me a little quick laugh or a little quick bit of entertainment, and then you move on. That's not what I do. That's never what I've been about. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the guy who's going to sit here and now rush through and ruin a game or whatever. That's not my point. And if that's what you're looking for, I'm sorry, but that's not what you're going to get on DSP Gaming. You know, I feel like what I do has more meaning than that. You know? And I understand your impatience. It's a new game. You want to see a lot. Oh, wow, what's around the next corner? Oh, my God, can you believe that? Can you believe that? We're going to have those moments together. You got to be a little patient so that we can actually enjoy the game at a good pace rather than, it's, you know, it's not snail's pace. We saw a lot yesterday, but it's certainly not turbo mode. At least that's my take on it. You have the right to disagree. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money. Oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money. Oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. These contributions are mandatory. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money. Oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money. Money, money, yeah, yeah. Money, money. Oh, money, money, yeah, yeah. These contributions are mandatory. Tipping me helps me more than anything.